Life is not a bed of roses, and even roses have thorns. The journey will not always be smooth, as there will be uphill, valleys low, winding bends, and various hazards as we go on the road. The fact remains that at one point or another in our various lives we are faced with situations and circumstances of varying shapes, forms, and degrees. While some changes can be tackled easily within our human capabilities, there are others that are way beyond us and look seemingly insurmountable. The joy we have as believers is that no matter what we are going through, we have an assurance of one who can overcome all problems. However, as humans, we love having things done our own way and in our own time. Societal standards, generally accepted norms, and pressures from family and friends seem to set the timeline for the run of most people's lives. For instance, depending on the environment and culture, there is a standard age range to get married or to have become established. Similarly, for women, there is a period where you are expected to bear fruit of the womb, beyond which it is considered medically impossible. Despite our best efforts, things don't always go our way or happen as planned. So, what happens when things look bleak and there is no hope of escape in sight? What do we do when our plans fall to pieces and time seems to be running out on us? Let us consider a situation in the Bible. John 11, verse 1 through 45, tells of the death and resurrection of Lazarus. He had become sick, and his sisters did what they could to restore him to health. They sent for Jesus, knowing that he had the power to heal, but he did not appear until Lazarus' death. They had probably done other things within their capacity, maybe called a physician, used herbs, and tried to nurse him back to health. However, the whole situation came to a crux when Lazarus eventually died. It looked like the end of the road, and there was nothing else to do. But, glory to God, Jesus showed up. And that was 4 days later, when the body had been wrapped and was already stinking. Humanly speaking, it was a closed case, and there was absolutely nothing anybody could do but mourn the loss of another soul. Christ proved otherwise, and the impossible became possible. The dead came back to life, and this testimony is one that would last for as long as the earth remains. If God could bring back the dead of 4 days back to life, what is that situation that you think impossible for him to step into and change the story? You see, God specializes in working miracles, and where the best of our efforts stop, his power begins to work. You might think that you are too old to achieve or do certain things, be faced with certain medical conditions that defy treatment, have several bills that need to be paid, or it might even be a rebellious son or daughter who has refused to come home. Whatever it is, be assured that all is within the power of God to solve. Luke 1, verse 37. For with God nothing shall be impossible. Jeremiah 32, verse 27 also says, Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? So, go ahead and look that problem in the face, boldly declaring that you have a God that can do all things. With God, there are no deadlines. Remember that He has time and seasons in His hands and is capable of restoring not only lives and things but time as well. He can speed up things, compress time for your sake, and cause you to achieve in a single year what should have taken 5 years or more. According to Joel 2, verse 25, He will restore all the years that the locust has eaten. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 11, says that He has made everything beautiful in His time. God has the perfect timing for everything that happens in your life. He will not leave you destitute and alone in your time of need. He is with us in all and through all that we might be facing at the moment. Isaiah 43 verse 2 says, "When thou passest through the water, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon you." Psalms 46 verse 1 also tells us that God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. This was evident in the life of the 3 Hebrew men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when they were faced with the fiery furnace of King Nebuchadnezzar. They had a choice to make, and even when it seemed like there was no help in sight, they still chose not to bow. It might seem sometimes that God is silent on certain matters, and there are many moments when we cannot feel His presence. Nevertheless, our feelings count for nothing where God is concerned. Rather than go by what we feel or think, we should hold on to His word that never fails. It should be our anchor through the storms, a guide when we are lost, and a light in the darkness that surrounds. Like the 3 Hebrew men, do not compromise your faith. Whether or not you see a solution in sight, do not give in or succumb to temptation. Remember that God always comes through, no matter how impossible it seems. He knows better than we do and has our best interests at heart. He could easily have shown up when the men were being threatened by the king after they refused to bow for the first time, or when they boldly declared their stand for God in the presence of the king. Instead, He chose the perfect time to appear, right inside the fire. He had been with them through all, but He chose that particular moment to show up and manifest His presence. Imagine how beautiful and glorious it must have been. In the end, they not only came out unscathed by the fire, but were also promoted in their various positions in the kingdom. More importantly, they caused their God to be known among the unbelievers. For their sake, the king had to declare in Daniel 3, verse 29, "Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill. Because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort." It was equally the same for Daniel when he was thrown into the den of lions. The Lord shut the mouth of the lions and saved him from the plans of his enemies. He was also promoted after his ordeal. Be encouraged that whatever you are going through in life, you are not alone. God is with you through all of it, and He will surely come through for you. The end will be a glorious one, and people will come to glorify God as a result. Many at times, we are not pressured into having or doing certain things based on the expectations of others. If we are not careful enough, we might be tempted to give in and take shortcuts to achieve our goals. Usually, the end of this particular route is not palatable. Know of a certainty that the world would never see things the way we do. There would be several suggestions and enticing offers thrown our way that most times would seem easier and faster. However, if we would come out victorious in any challenge, it is important to go by God's way and in His time as well. Your situation is not the first and is not strange to God. Know that you are not alone and that God will always come through. You will surely come out victorious.